Greetings. I am David Zokaitis, and I'm here to talk about Project Trim. Now, I was here a couple of months ago, and there was all this controversy about Project Trim, so I was curious. I wanted to check it out and see what the heck was going on. So the first thing we should notice is that trees are really beautiful. So here's a view that I took. It's a self-portrait, me and my shadow and my bike. It's a nice scene, and we wouldn't get that without trees. But, in addition to being beautiful trees, they need some work now and again. This is kind of a funny picture. It's me actually standing on the sidewalk near Menards. So I guess that branch is a little bit short. Needs some work. All right, so, we had tree branches that were too tall, and so the city came up with the idea that maybe we should do something about it. So came up with a Project Trim and City Ordinance 94, which supports it. And, I read the thing, and it says you got a 10-foot clearance over sidewalk and 12 feet over streets and 16 over important streets. And it's the property owner's job to take care of that. That all seems pretty reasonable. So far, so good. But I did some more checking and talked to folks from Parks and Rec and kept on reading. And apparently, when they find a problem, most people fix it after the parks people send out a letter, and 86% of the remainder fix it after they go back with the second try. And so a total of 96% compliance. That seems pretty good, and the city fixes the last 4%. Okay. And then I read clause 94.045, and every now and again the city says you've got a dead tree or a diseased tree, and take it down, and if you don't like that, you have 3 days to appeal that order. 3 days? I mean, I was kind of surprised that somebody would give you 3 days to appeal anything. It seems quite short. But that's the law. And then I read clause 94.046. You got to read these things carefully. And if you don't remove a tree, city goes in and says, we'll do it for you and charge it for you. But there's nothing in this clause about not trimming your branches. So if you don't have a clause about not trimming branches, then the city does not have the statutory authority to fine people for not trimming their branches. It's not in your ordinance. And I also noticed that there's no hearings about any of this. City just does it and says, hey, too bad. Well, if you don't have a hearing, you don't have due process. So in addition to a lack of statutory authority, you don't have constitutional authority. And that's a problem. All right, so, a couple of months, people are having issues with their trees. And I noticed that the ordinance says 10 feet over a sidewalk. Now, I'm really tall, but 10 feet seems like a little much. I'm not going to get hit with a 10-foot tree. 8 feet seems a little better. And, maybe if people try hard to trim their branches and don't quite do it, then enforcers might be able to just take it a little easier, and you'd have less problems. All right. And then, when you have a lack of statutory authority and a lack of constitutional authority, it just looks really bad. And we need to remember that it's government for the people, and you have to have these kind of authorities to be able to take money away from other people. And, I hate to say it, but this is the second ordinance I've read, and both of them flunk the requirement for due process. That's just not very good. And I've seen other problems across the USA. So what I'm doing here, not just today, but over the long term, is I want to look deep into the darkness that's invading our country. And if you were going to turn a democracy into a plutocracy, which kind of looks like it's going on, how would you do it? Well, you might erode civil rights a little bit here, and you might concentrate wealth in the 0.01%, and you might have huge prison systems like we have, and you might have police that are a little gun crazy and like to detain people without suspicion, or you might have a project like Trim. But anyway, no matter what these problems are, if we decide we want to, we can fix them. And there we go. I got 10 seconds to go. So with that, I bid everybody a good evening, and let's get to work and fix things.